Aquaponics DIY. So when I started here, it was just a fish in the tank with this pump in and of itself. Once the tank cycled, I started adding, I added this styrofoam here and started doing that. Then I added this egg carton to see what else I could sprout. It's time to step it up. Now we've got an NFT system going in the dining room. How about that? What we've got here is I'm still keeping this pump running. I don't see any point in turning it off. And then I've got this pump, which is completely separate. So we start at this pump here, and that goes into a 1/2 inch piece of PVC up into the ball valve and dumps into this kitty litter bucket that I spray painted. The bucket itself, I measured from the bottom up 8 inches. And then the water goes into this bucket, and these are filter pads that I had, so I just throw them in there. Anyway, the water hits that and comes out into the NFT channel. I'm checking on this thing all the time. So in the crazy event that this thing starts to overflow, backfill, or whatever, I have a safety measure. This piece, this black piece right here, is called a bulkhead fitting. So if the water were to start rising because it was clogged or whatever, it'd come up and hit this bulkhead fitting, come down this 3/4 inch pipe, and just dump back into the tank. So I have a safety measure in place there, worst case scenario. All right, so the water hits the pads, and then I have another bulkhead fitting here coming out into a 3/4 inch male adapter, then into my elbow, and it dumps into the NFT channel itself. This is a 4-inch ABS pipe that I cut holes in every 8 inches. I used a 3-inch hole saw, and I have 3-inch neti pots. There are 26 holes total in this entire thing. So the water dumps into the hole, is gravity fed down to the corner, and then down to the end here. At this end, this cap here, before I put the cap on, what I did was I used a smaller hole saw, drilled a hole through the cap, and then I attached another bulkhead fitting, then I glued the piece on. So anyway, the water comes down to the end, hits this bulkhead fitting, goes to another male adapter, into my elbows, and we start to gravity feed it back to the fish tank. I've got this piece held up with string along the way, 2, and a 3rd piece of string right here. And then there's the return. So the whole point in all this is that I feed the fish in turn feed the plants feed me, and eventually so will the fish. If all goes according to plan, in approximately 9 to 12 months, those guys should be about 1 1/4 pound, and they'll be moving from there to there. First thing that I did when I started this, before I brought the pipe into the house, was I started right here. These are 1 foot long pieces of 2x4, and what I did was I attached this piece into the wall. There's a stud right there, got a couple screws in there, and then I came back with another piece of 2x4 and attached this to that first piece of 2x4. Then I put the pipe on and my my braces here. The whole reason I did that was I created a gap here between the window and the pipe. This gives me room that I can put a curtain in and run it all the way across without interfering with the plants. Because we don't have blinds, we just have these hooks up here that we use a sheet on and hook it with a pin. So anyway, it's kind of hokey, but that's what we're using for a curtain at the moment. Worst case scenario, come summertime, I got to put up some shade cloth or whatever. I have total access to do that without any obstructions. And I can close up the windows at night, keep the house warm, insulate the plants from the cold weather outside. Be a whole lot simpler if I just put up blinds, but anyway, that's what I'm doing at the moment. So this wall here is southern exposure. That tree outside though, it does provide some shade. And worst case scenario, I might have to supplement a little bit of lighting down the road. I don't think I'll have to do much, if any at all. I just want to wait it out and see how it plays out, because what we're growing in here as it is, when I'm growing outside, these are things that I'm always like trying to put in the shade, because the sun's just gonna fry this stuff. You know, we get like 90, 100 degree days on average come summertime, and it's just, you're trying to grow leafy stuff outside like this, it just gets fried. So we've got butter crunch lettuce. This is some spinach. More lettuce and spinach. This right here is lemon thyme, and then we have German thyme, and this is rosemary that I had over there in the styrofoam in the last video, and that's starting to sprout roots. And this is a soilless system here. I basically got the plants, put it in a 5-gallon bucket with water, and massaged the roots until all the dirt was free of the roots. Just put them in the net cup and then placed them in the NFT channel. All in all, I probably spent about 150 bucks on this. All of the 4-inch pipe and couplers and the endings, elbows, that in and of itself was like $93. Then the pump, that was about 20 bucks. And then, you know, I got my PVC and all these other little fittings and stuff. You know, by the time it's all said and done with, it's about 150 bucks. So I've got the bulkhead fitting over here as far down as I can on the outlet, on the return back to the tank. The only thing that I would do differently if I could do this all over again is I do the same thing, except I put the bulkhead fitting up as high as I can on this end, so it would basically act in the same manner that this acts. If for some crazy reason this were to start to overflow, before it spills out of these cups, it would come and spill out of the out of a drainage pipe. So anyway, if I were to ever do this, if I were to ever like start getting crazy and making changes to this, that's probably what I would do. But I'm looking at this thing so much, so often, that I don't think it's going to be a problem. Right here, that's a Plecostomus, that guy right there, and I just gotta say, these guys, there's 3 of them in there, and they are keeping this tank incredibly clean. It's amazing how clean they're keeping it. So I'm not worried about algae, because if you go back to like 2 videos ago, this tank looked like a mess, and these Plecostomus just straightened it right up. So I've spent a lot of time watching videos, reading books, just researching this stuff any which way that I can. All I can say is studying something and actually doing it are 2 different things. This has been a big learning process up to this point. All right, well, there you have it. This is my indoor aquaponic NFT system. Let me know what you guys think. Leave some comments down below. If you're new here, click that subscribe button, and if you haven't figured it out, I'm obsessed with this thing. I'm checking it every 10 minutes, so you know there's going to be lots of updates coming on this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Check you later, dude.